Hi, everybody. It's Mary Long here. This week we have Nancie King Mertz. Nancie, what are you going to be critiquing on, and how are you thinking about tonight?
Well, when we first talked about doing this, I suggested that I talk about value, because often I'll see people are maybe not real confident to get a lot of value from light to dark in their paintings. So that was going to kind of be my theme, and time got away from us, and that assignment didn't go out. So anyway, in reviewing the work to prepare for tonight, there are just several things I wanted to touch on. So a little bit of perspective, a little bit of value, a little composition, color intensity, temperature, and so forth. So it'll just be kind of a mishmash of different things that I think need to be looked at and applauded and so forth. So that's my plan. But then in December and January, I will submit a photo that everyone can take from, and I'm really going to try to help with perspective. It'll probably be a cityscape. We'll talk about 1-point perspective, 2-point perspective. So I won't make it, a real difficult photo, but it's just something that I think everybody needs to review and understand a little better. So that's the plan for December and January.
Well, that sounds great.
Good. Okay.
All right, so there's a little bit of noise in the background somewhere for somebody. If
It might be the news. Maybe Ron, I think they can still hear the
Hey,
TV.
Ron.
Okay, so I will share screen, and Steve has to leave early. So Steve Butchert. So we're going to zip to him and then come back.
All right. If anybody has questions, just chat to me, and if you have questions for Nancie or whatever, I'll be glad to show them to you.
This is Steve's photo. Are you unmuted, Steve?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where is this?
This is Bussy Woods.
Okay.
Like, 1 week ago today, it was.
Okay. Beautiful.
Beautiful color out there.
Yeah, and your painting is wonderful.
Thank you.
There's so much to be learned from this area, and it's just gorgeous, gorgeous work. But I'm critiquing, so there's two little things I would look at maybe. It seems that the base of the trees are lined up a little too much. Maybe pull one down just to break up that line. And then I think I would maybe connect these. They're like stepping stones on the trunk, and I think maybe I would connect a little bit so that you don't have the 4 stepping stones.
Got it.
Light. But it's a wonderful painting. How big is it?
It's a big one.
Oh.
16 by 24 I went out with.
Great.
And it took about 2 hours. I paint pretty fast, and but the light changed constantly, and the leaves were just blowing everywhere. So I wanted to capture that.
Yeah,
as well.
Lots of yellow. Are the leaves blowing? Right?
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Thank you. Good points.
Scratch in, or did you use like a rigging brush?
That was a rigger in some areas. In other areas, I used a little rubber spatula tool I have. But yeah, the first 10 minutes was the underpainting. I pretty much banged that one out. And then I spent like an hour and a half just kind of finding those shapes.
Yeah. And the very distant forest is so beautifully painted. It's, kind of that gray violet.
Yeah.
So it really recedes, and it's a beautiful complement to the yellow.
Good. Thank you, Nancie.
Okay. So Lori is starting us off. Okay, this is her photo. Beautiful composition photo. And her painting.
Yes.
So this is so beautifully done through here, Lori. I'm just concerned a bit with the indecisiveness of the background. It looks just a little too fuzzy, and maybe the temperature is too intense for it being so far in the distance. It's kind of the same.
So I over distanced it.
I think you need to, well, color-wise, I think you need to give it more distance, like gray it out just a little bit more, because these are kind of the same hue, these two areas, and that makes this come forward. So I would just gray that out of it, and maybe define a little bit more.
Trees, the bushes.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit more, so it's not quite so soft. This is nicely done. Your bridge is great. Really captured that nicely. And what's the size?
The size is 9 by 12. Do I need more highlights? That's the one thing I was worried if it was too much, like, you know, if I needed more to pop more things.
Well, it looks like it's an overcast, certainly, if not a rainy day. Is it? So
Overcast for sure.
yeah. So I don't know. You could maybe cut in just a little bit with the water peeking through. That could serve as highlights, possibly. I don't know. It has a nice overall feel. I just think it needs, you know, this is smack dab in the middle, and I think it just needs a little more resolve.
Pulling everybody to its fuzziness.
You're what?
It's sort of pulling the viewer to the fuzziness, you know.
It is. It kind of draws you more than the bridge, which it shouldn't. So yeah, if you just push it back with, you know, graying it down just a little bit, I think that'll help. And it'll make, you know, these foreground trees come forward more. Nice game. Okay, Don. Here's his photo. Is Don there today?
I don't believe he is.
Okay. Just a great painting architecturally. You know, he just really nailed the shape and the perspective, and it really works. It is right in the middle, so sometimes, you know, it's wise to move things one side or the other just a bit if possible. But it is beautifully painted. Okay, so this is Sharon.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Sharon. I like all your brush work and thick paint. How large is this?
I think it's an 11 by 14.
Now these cooler greens are, you know, receding, and the yellow and red are certainly popping forward. So thank you. Accomplished a lot there. Maybe just strengthen one of these edges a little bit.
On the branch.
maybe just a little bit. Because your eye looks at the whole, and I think this might be because of the contrast in value, this might be your center of interest. Maybe just a little touches of sharper edges there.
Okay.
That's nice. Where is this?
Thank you. That's in Crabtree Nature Center in Barrington.
Okay.
It's my favorite place to go paint, and it was so beautiful that day. The colors were just astonishing. I just felt so submerged in all the golds and reds.
Oh, nice.
I just kind of wanted to get that overwhelming feeling of the glow of the golds, on my canvas.
It's been a really pretty fall.
It really has.
And this is Elizabeth here. This is her photo. And then she did a sketch. And made some notes. That's great. We're capturing the shadow sides of things, shadow on the building. So these notes are important to have. As we know, the light changes so quickly. And then this is her painting. She's carried over those shadows. And here, there's just a little bit of dipping down of the roof, I think, just a titch. So you might want to push that up just a whisker to have it read more correctly.
Yeah, I guess it does dip a little more than the tower itself. Now I look at it, yes.
Yeah,
It's,
a little. And in the photo, I noticed the shadows are like this, and then in the center of the tower, there's a big shadow as well. So I wonder if there would be more shadow cast than you have in the painting. Since these shadows are pretty strong.
yeah, I could have probably made that one front side sort of darker. I think it's sort of it was, it was changing. I think I took the photo kind of later on during the sketch rather than kind of at the beginning. So it's sort of I was kind of sitting under a tree on the grass. It's sort of it's, not the comfiest place to sketch, it turns out. And the next time I went out, I took a chair with me.
Yeah, your perspective looks good in the sketch. This looks great. Really nailed it there.
Yeah, and I decided to add the little person on the path. It's sort of, the first version I did, I put her out front, I put her in the sketch, but sort of last week, sort of Dale suggested I should put her sort of further back. So sort of, this is version 2 of the painting. So
yeah, I think if she were in the front, they would be, the tower, and she would be fighting for attention. So
yeah,
she's just very much in the, secondary interest there. So that's great. So anything else?
I don't think so. Thank you.
This is Richard.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Richard.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm in my studio painting right now, actually.
Great. So tell us about this painting. Is it dust?
It's Elmhurst Park. Actually, we were all in the park about 1.5 years ago, and it's evolved into something entirely different, obviously. So. The title alludes to a student I had at Lil Street who, by the way, he was an attorney. Sorry if I offend anybody, but he said, he came up to me during class and he said, you know, Mr. Laurent, sometimes a tree is just a tree. And I thought, okay.
Good title.
All right. What did I tell him?
No, I said good title, but yeah, what did you tell him?
I basically told him in terms of instruction in the next couple weeks that a tree, in fact, might not be a tree. It might be a metaphor for something. So we kind of went back and forth all during the entire class that way. So that's my fond memory of this painting, to be honest. So.
Well, I'm just so intrigued by this area. It has such a mysterious feeling. I think because it is dark, I can't tell if it's dusk or.
Yeah, it's getting toward dusk. I took a little trip to Galena a few weeks ago, and the leaves were all starting to turn. So the slide here is a little bit more intense than the actual painting. It's a little bit more subtle than this. When I looked at it, the orange was like blowing out. So, but I wanted to go back in and sort of work with it as a fall piece, I guess.
So you did this, you started it a year and a half ago. Do you just occasionally work on it? And
yeah, this particular piece, I have to admit, I came back to it a few times, and it was nothing like it ended up being at the end, which is often what happens with my work. But I was intrigued by, I actually had some other symbolic elements going on in there, and I remembered something Mary had said to me about plein air painting, so I kind of dialed it back a little bit. So,
well, I think it's fun if you, as you're painting, create a story or, I think symbols are fine.
yeah, I work a lot with the metaphor in my work, and it's a very strong part of my work. So I kind of have to dial that back in certain respects when I'm working just from nature. So
That's really nice. It has such a dreamy quality, and I love that it's dark in the foreground and this mysterious light, but it reads because there's light here too.
Nancie, we're losing your voice a bit.
Oh, it's a dreamy quality. I'm going into my dream state here.
I thought it was just me.
I was saying that, I like this darkness in the foreground, and then it's hit with light, which of course leads your eye down the path, and the light reads well because you also have the light on the tree trunk too. And then you just have subtle value shifts leading on back, down the path. So that really makes it work. It makes it, the atmospheric perspective works correctly. And then you have such great light right in this center of interest. So, and then the dusk over at each edge. I think that it just reinforces that quality. My quality. So nicely done.
Thank you so much.
So this is Howard's. This is his photo. And he focused on this area in his painting. So this is, Howard, is this oil or watercolor? Are you there, Howard? Thought I saw you earlier.
I'm here.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi, is it
Watercolor.
watercolor? Okay. And is there anything you'd like to say about this piece?
Not really. It's very simple. It's a very small piece.
What size is it?
I don't know. I think 11 by 14. I meant it's a very simple piece. It's nothing. It's no grand landscape. It's a building I could see from the deck of my house. That's what it is.
Yeah, you've got the perspective pretty well drawn. Just make sure you keep your verticals vertical. I tell my students, think of the verticals as soldiers. They're always, straight up and down, and then the tops and the bottoms are what recede to the vanishing point. So we all have a tendency to make those verticals lean a little bit. So try to keep your verticals straight. You've done it here. These are pretty straight, but these seem to lean a little bit. So it just kind of skews the rest of the perspective on that particular wall if the verticals are leaning.
Yeah, I see that. Thank you. Thank you.
This is Maureen's.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Maureen.
It's an old painting that I never finished, and I keep working on it here and there, and then, put it away, but, and I don't know what to do with the foreground. I was going to put a nest there, but, this is when I was doing tight work, and just can't get it done. It's just, so, but I thought maybe your input would help.
So you said you thought about putting a nest. What did you?
Yeah, I was thinking of putting like a swan's nest there. I mean, but is that competing too much then with that bush, the big rhododendron?
This crescent is really, really a strong shape. So I don't know that you'd want to, compete with other elements that would pull your eye away. It's just, it's so dominant. You might just subtly suggest the reflection of this tree in this area.
Oh, like it's water? Because it's actually some greenery.
Oh, I thought this was all a reflection.
I know.
Okay, so that, then I understand why these are spiky instead
Right.
of, okay. Well, then maybe you need to give some kind of different hue, maybe like tone down the reflections of the green. And then this is like a bank of brush or grasses.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, just make them different colors and different maybe make this warmer to make it pop forward.
Yeah.
In front of the reflections, because I didn't see that. I just thought it was all reflected. So I didn't see that there was,
Okay.
right. Like the other side of the lake.
Right. Okay. Right. You're right. If it was warmer, it'd be more forward.
Yeah, and you can have some of these grasses come up just into this pink.
Okay.
It might make that not quite so dominant.
Oh, okay.
But you have some nice warm greens here. Maybe just work a few of those into the bank there.
All right. All right. Thank you.
Nice. Okay, so this is Karen. Beautiful photo. Is that your gear over here? in the road. Is Karen here tonight?
She's here. She may not know how to unmute maybe.
Okay. Can you just click on the microphone? So this has interesting values in here. It's really dark under the tree and the light, because of the shadows, the light is able to hit the tree up here. So you have a much more vibrant red, and this is the cooler red down here. And then you've got this pop of kind of apple green in the distance where the light again is hitting the shrubbery. But this is pretty dark. So I think you could push that a little more. And, you know, always remember that the local color, like grass, for instance, it's all green, but it's different hues or shades of green, different values of green when it's in light and shadow. So, you know, be careful about getting too much of another color in there, because then it looks like another substance, like maybe dirt or you know, something other than grass. So just be careful about the local color. And I think you could deepen the values here and the lower part of the tree, and then let the color pop more up in here, and then really pop in the distance if you're trying to kind of replicate this scene. And this forward shrub is pretty dark, so that's just going to help lead you into the scene, and also lead you kind of down the road. You know, the road can be darker too, so just a little dappled light, but the road is mostly dark. And not a lot of, if you squint down, there's not a lot of value shift between the grass on either side and the road. So just keep thinking about those values. So this is Linda Brown. This is her photo.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Linda. And this is her painting. So you've really captured the feel of the wind and the energy, the splashing waves, and then you kind of made everything lean, so it's clear that there's wind and you know, lots of blowing. So that's very effective. It maybe bring some of the grasses up just to reinforce that blowing and wind. You know, just a few sprigs of grass up into over the water, overlaying the water, and it might help connect these two a little better.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, the photo just makes everything so dark in the shadow. So I don't know if this needs to be darker, but if you painted it on site, you might just have the value that it truly was. It just looks darker in the photo. But if you do make it a little bit darker, I think it might give a little more interest, because everything's of kind of similar value.
Oh, okay.
Other than the lights and the spray.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it looks like a day with the wind, that it could have been a storm blowing up. So I think the water may not be so blue.
Okay.
It's usually when there's a clear sky and, you know, lots of sun, water can be that blue, but I think on an active day like this, it probably is a little more gray.
Okay.
It's so hard to know, seeing, what you saw.
Right.
But that's just kind of the sense I get from it.
I really struggled with the medium. I was using watercolor, which I haven't done, and I overworked so it doesn't look
Oh.
fresh at all.
I thought it was an oil. Okay.
Well, I used it like oil, and it just didn't seem to work. But I'm going to go back to oil.
It's hard to switch back and forth. I think.
Yeah.
You just have to stick with it for a while until you becomes familiar again, because you get rusty
Okay.
with different mediums. I mean, I do. I get rusty if I paint so much with pastel, and then when I go back to oil, I'm like, oh yeah, how do I do this?
Right. Thank you so much.
Sure. Okay, Dorothy, this is her photo.
Hello.
Hi. Still painting.
Wow, the photo came out real big on that.
Yeah, I did. So did you do this plein air, or did you work from the photo?
I worked on it plein air, and then I did some added touches in the studio.
Okay.
But the basic thing was done plein air.
Okay. You might experiment with using warmer tones for your shadows. I think it would just give you a greater sense of depth.
Warmer shadows?
Yeah, just some warmer shadows in there instead of so blue. This seems a little warmer to me than leaning towards blue.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, the closer those shadow areas are to you, they would probably be warmer. You can use cooler colors more in the distance, and that just pushes everything back, gives you a greater sense of atmospheric perspective. When you cool down and gray down colors in the distance, but they can be warmer towards you.
So the shadows that are closer should be warmer, could be warmer, and then it won't. Then it will give me a more sense of distance.
I think so. I think it would just be a richer look too.
Mm-hmm.
Even into here, maybe just a little warmer. Almost the color that you've used in the tree trunk.
Mm-hmm.
And probably these ridges that are getting stronger light, I think you would see some of that down in here. Not as bright or light, but your reflection here, where it's lighter, is the same as here, where it's darker. So we just put a little bit of light in it, a little bit of brightness.
Okay.
Reflection. What size is that?
It's 10 inches tall and 8 inches wide.
Okay. Anything else?
No, thank you. Thank you very much.
This is Barbara's. It's always a fun place to paint.
This isn't me.
This isn't Barbara's?
Barbara who?
Oh, this is Robin's. I'm sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll admit to it.
Robin's is very nice. I'm flattered.
It's sweet.
Okay, so you have two things here that are trying to be the star of the show. So you have to choose. And I think she has. I think she chose the tree. And it's very nice
Yes.
painted here, Robin. Often people paint a tree kind of all the same color and the same value from top to bottom. And you've given it light and movement and changed some of these values all along the way, which is really nice.
Thank you. I really never know what to do with the shadows. And the other thing is, I just took that abstract course, and then I'm abstract. I'm trying to be realistic. I'm abstract. I'm trying to be realistic. So it's a
That's
quandary.
your brain, huh?
Yeah.
So because this seems to be the star of the show, I think I would make this a little more subtle. Because it's such a high key in value, it's popping forward and it's fighting with your tree for attention. So if you look, there's a wonderful shadow underneath the bowl of his fountain. So I would put a shadow under there,
Oh, yeah.
and it would make it recede a little bit more into the, the foliage that's back here, and maybe
Okay.
not as much of the cascading water, just to push it back a little bit.
Okay.
A little darker around here.
I'm taking notes.
Okay. Is this the library behind?
It's actually facing the other way, and I know the red is coming forward, but I thought, oh, it's abstract now, let it come forward. But I don't know. I think it's a little, it's too red.
Yeah, I think it's okay here. I think it's too red here. But I think the left side is okay.
Okay.
You just have things competing for attention here when you need to let this beautifully painted part of the tree steal the show.
Okay, thank you.
There's not really much shadow, so maybe just extend your shadow off a little bit. It just looks a little incomplete, maybe at this side. So I would just deepen the shadow a little bit and run it on off the surface. It might help balance the darkness of the tree a little bit.
So more assertive shadow.
I think so. Yeah. From your photo, you can't see much shadow, but I just think it's kind of weighty here, and that might help it balance it out.
Oh, okay. Thanks a lot.
This is Marcy's.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Marcy. Is that your dog or a dog
No,
that's
it was just a visiting animal that
Oh,
came
cute.
along. It's cute.
very cute? I tried to take my dog plein air painting at the Washington Square Park one time. He completely knocked over my easel, so
Oh,
that again. Okay, so nice, Marcy. This has a lot of charm.
oh, thank you. Well, what doesn't along those streets? Oh
Yeah.
my goodness, there's fabulous doors to paint.
I love this reflection in here.
That was a unique decoration that they had on the door.
Was it a mirror or is
It's
that
a mirror, yes.
inside? Very nice. Watch your perspective on the urn. It seems a little skewed at the base. This seems great through here, and then it's starting to arch a little bit too much.
Mm-hmm.
Needs
I
to
see it.
flatten, and also more in shadow, because all this foliage would create a shadow over this part. I think this part would have more of the light that you portrayed here, but this would have more shadow just because of
Right.
what it's holding.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So when you're painting something that's up the stairs like that, just determine exactly where your sight line is. Like, you know, is this, if you're standing looking straight out, where's your sight line? I'm guessing it's right about there. So you're understanding that you're under the rim, but I don't think you're under the rim that much. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it just needs to be flattened a little bit, and this
Okay.
just a little. That's a fun piece. Anything else?
What about the planes, as the planes change on that, should I have the color different on the stone on the back side, make it a little cooler than the front? Because as I look at it, it's all the same color.
Yeah, are you talking about this indented part?
I changed that a little bit, but the other part, should I change
Or
that also a little
around
bit?
the door?
Right.
It really is about the same color. Maybe, oh, you didn't include all those corn shucks. There is that nice kind of golden glow around these lamps.
Right.
Do that just to mix it up a little bit so that it's not so much like, you know, all these other wall areas around.
It just seemed like it was all the same color, and I thought I needed to change it as the planes changed, vary the color some. And I was having trouble mixing that out there, and the light kept changing on me. And
Yeah, if you had strong sunlight, I think you would see a big difference. It would be a strong shadow on probably here, and a bit of a cast shadow here, but it looks like, you know, it's pretty even light. But there is a nice shadow under here that
right. Mm-hmm.
would help that read better.
It was very cold. I'm not doing as well as Errol out there painting every day in the cold and rain.
We used to go out year round and paint and wear, you know, like snowsuits and heat packs in our boots and gloves, and it was brutal. So I'm glad that our group doesn't meet too late in the year to go outside.
Thank you, Nancy.
Mm-hmm. Shannon. This has a great stormy feel and dreamlike as well, with this, you know, violet sky and then the light, strong, intense light in yellow hitting on the bank. What's the story on this painting?
So this is at this is at Illinois Beach Park, and I was painting there. The storm was coming, so the sky was done live. The tree I had to finish up later because I was getting rained on, but I was in sun, but then you could see the storm around me. It was very dramatic.
That's great. And you can feel the wind. It's the way you painted this tree. It's like it's whipping. So nice complementary colors. Really works well there. Any more comments?
Just, looking for any feedback on what would improve it. I wasn't sure if it was clear enough, that I was in light and that the darkness was back there. If there's anything I could do to make that really clear.
I think it reads like that. This might be just a little dark in here.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you could have a little more separation between the tree and the distant sky. It's getting close in value there. So that's just a little confusing right in that area. Or maybe just hit the tops of those branches with this lighter green. That could help. But I think it's very convincing.
Great, thanks.
These are sand dunes?
Yep.
Okay. And this is Tom's.
Yeah.
So is this where you live, Tom? Because you painted this
Yeah.
great highway scenes.
I live in Oak Park, and our most dramatic shapes, I feel like, are the Eisenhower.
Very, very nice. I love just the suggestion of cars and trucks. That's terrific. Beautifully painted.
Thank you.
These soft edges are really nice. Maybe that could be softened right there.
Mm.
And maybe this just a little bit.
Yeah.
Really strong painting. What size is it?
That's an 8 by 16.
Okay.
About as big as I do usually live.
Okay. This would make a nice big painting.
Yeah, I'd really need to figure out what to do to fill in all those dark shapes and make them interesting, probably, though, right?
Well, you've got some nice color shifts in there.
Yeah. I haven't really enlarged, but it would be a nice one if I could keep it loose and not get all tight on it. I haven't really done much above 12 by 24, really.
Well, maybe just some big brushes.
Yeah.
And gobs of paint.
Yeah. Big palette.
Yeah. Sky is nice again. Just real good color harmony, and you really push these back with your value and color choice. This tree's off to the left. So that's good, strong painting.
Thanks, Nancy.
Anything else you want to say?
Not that I can think of. Just thanks, and it's good to meet you.
Oh, me too.
I've missed you all the past things. So anyway, thank you.
Sure. Okay, so it says John and Mary Hines. So did you paint together, or is it John or is it Mary?
It's
It's
just John.
Okay.
John.
Again, another beautiful photo. And you've done, you're really truly showing how beneficial plein air painting is, because the photo has just made this all so dark you can't see the rich color that you've captured here. So
When I painted it, it was it was dark and overcast and really stormy looking. And then when I took the photo, it was bright sunshine.
Oh. Well, I don't get a sense of storm here, so you were able to bring that into your painting, or bring the light into the painting without looking threatening, stormy. So nicely done.
It was also very windy. It was like about 20-mile-an-hour winds, and I actually sat flat on the pavement or on the grass there to paint it because the painting box would blow over.
Oh my gosh. You might work just a little bit of this blue into your water, and maybe a few more reflections like this. This tree would probably be reflected. It's as it is now, it looks a little bit like a frozen lake. I think because it's so white. So I would just get a little more color in there. This is
Okay.
beautiful.
Okay,
Nice, John.
thank you.
And what's the size?
This is very small. It's like 7 by 11.
Okay. And this is Julie's photo. Watercolor. Grasses are nice. I like it's the skipped the little holes in the paper. It gives a lot of movement and it keeps the grasses from becoming monotonous. So it's nice, and they're painted nicely here too. Painted a little differently. Very nice. I do see just a little bit of a perspective issue. The corner of the building, there's a large overhang. So that large overhang, the corner would come forward here and then go back. So let's look at the photo. So see the large overhang is equally large here. So that pushes this corner out away from the building, and then it goes back. Does that make sense, Julie?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, okay. So this would be the shorter run because it's really,
Yes, I see. Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
And this is the longer run, just pushing that corner out away from the building. So,
Yeah.
I think you could correct it, maybe. I don't know. Watercolor is kind of unforgiving.
Yeah.
I always get so frustrated with watercolor. This is nice.
Thanks a lot, Nancy.
Uh-huh. So the next one is Coon. This photo. This is pretty incredible, Coon.
Thank you.
The pastel, I can tell that you washed it in. And the way you handled the foliage is just wonderful. I would flatten it. It looks a bit like people are walking uphill. So I would flatten this line a little bit and then broaden it here just a little bit so that the sidewalk is receding but it flattens it out so that it's not, they're not walking uphill.
Okay.
I think it's just, this is beautifully painted. I love just the suggestion of windows, and you didn't overdo the detail. Very impressive piece. Is there anything you want to say about it, Kuhn?
For the pastel, can you touch up later?
Oh,
And-
yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
thank you.
Yeah, the pastels are so forgiving, you know, because you can, as long as you're working on a good sanded surface, you can put many, many layers on a pastel.
Mhm.
But I love how you handle this area. It's just beautifully done. It looks like you had fun.
Yep. It was hour and a half before the main event in the afternoon. So there was exercise before the real one.
Oh, great. And then did you paint the same thing for the real one?
No, different side. It was, this pastel was from the south side
Okay.
before the sun changes. And the main oil painting was from the north side, looking down the music box.
Okay. So have you been doing that, loosening up with pastel and then painting with oil?
Yeah, oil was the main event in the afternoon.
Okay. All right. So this one is Yelena. Is her photo? Like the ghost.
I'm here.
Hi.
Yes, hello.
And here's her painting.
My little painting is here, not little. Okay.
It's little?
No, 16 by 20.
Oh, oh gosh, okay. Good.
This is sunny day, too sunny. This is, I think this is autumn sun.
Okay. Well, you've done a good job with the perspective, and it's there's lots of energy here. But with the sun being so intense,
Thank you.
this
That's
side of the
really
building,
intense. We got a sunny
yeah,
day.
this side of the building would be in shadow.
Where is shadow?
So I would just darken this side of the building a bit, just to make it read more correctly. This side of the building was much lighter because the sun was bouncing off the next door house, and so the light was bouncing back on this wall. This wall's pretty dark.
This is dark. Okay.
So
Thank
if you can see the difference here,
I see.
how dark this is. And part of that is the photo, you know, and
I did photo not completely in this moment because it's difficult to do if we have sun here.
Yeah.
You can see some sun near this tree. It's left tree.
yeah, the street, yeah.
I got another position.
So I think it would just make it a little more interesting if that were a deeper value.
Maybe you are right. I think so. Yeah, it's difficult to paint and difficult to see because
Yeah.
You can understand that I can't maybe see this part. I need to almost close my eyes, otherwise it's difficult.
Yeah, so you were kind of looking into the sun.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, that's hard. It's really stresses your eyes.
Yes, you are right. but another way, I don't see how I can paint it. This is oil.
I like how you've done the sun with the rays. It's great.
Thank you. I just maybe do this part a little bit darker. You are right here.
Yeah.
Try to see again.
Yeah, otherwise it's a nice piece.
Thank you.
This is Sue's photo. Nice, Sue.
Thank you.
Beautiful complementary colors here next to each other. Very nicely done.
Thank you.
I think you could go darker up here, and that will just reinforce all this beautiful light and color down below.
Yeah, I was thinking I should also have gone darker on the left side, lower. Maybe. Yeah, well, maybe not as low, but on the whole tree side, that it might have helped pop it, because that's the dark side, sort of. When I
Yeah.
looked at the photo later, I was saying I probably could have been darker there for the same reason, to pop that stuff.
Yeah. And maybe just some little bits of color over these branches as leaves do. You know, they just kind of spray out over the existing limbs.
Okay.
And then these are very repetitious, and that would maybe break those up a little bit so they wouldn't look like they're matching.
Okay.
It really has a nice feel.
Thank you. Somebody bought it from me.
Oh, great.
Happy. They're walking down the street and they said, we really like your photo, your painting. So
That's great. Congratulations.
thank you.
This color is beautiful.
Yeah, I worked on that on and off, and I kept lightening it and lightening it. First I had way too dark, and it didn't read distance enough. So I wasn't sure to put light blue, kind of more, a little purplish blue. I
Yeah,
struggled.
it's very effective, especially with the complement right above it.
Thank you. Thank you for your inputs.
This is Barbara's.
Hello,
Hi.
I'm here.
An intimate alley scene.
Yes. So one of the things I noticed was this really stark, the tree trunk on the right. And when I took the photo, I realized, oh my God, that's really dark. And it thickens at the top. So I've changed that since then, but I didn't take another photo of it, but I know that that's all, that kind of draws your eye.
Yeah, you could maybe even just put a few leaves over it, just to
Yeah.
break it up a little bit.
And then I thought, yeah, so I didn't repaint it. I repainted it, but I didn't take another picture. I thought I'd give you something to work with. Anyway.
And
yeah, I like alley things, and I like gangways and things like that. And it's the light in the back with the foliage in the foreground.
You might check your perspective on this building. It seems like it's kind of reversed, like this is slanted down to the vantage point, and then this is slanted down to another vanishing point. So they should go to the same vanishing point. So it's they're kind of reversed. I think this angle would be correct down here, and this angle would be correct up here, just because, yeah, you're below it further up here. So it's going to angle down more. So
I see, yes, absolutely, I see it.
Okay, good.
Uh-huh.
This might be a little deeper value.
The shadow in the,
Yeah.
uh-huh.
Although you've so expertly painted in this fence, I know you don't want to go back and put.
Yeah, and I did the fence and I thought it would break up the, you know, the verticals. And I did it at the last minute and I really did it like suggestively. I didn't like super do it. It was like a one shot.
Yeah.
I didn't want to overdo the fence.
Good.
So I thought that would kind of break up the verticals and put a semi-strong horizontal in there.
Yeah. Did you scrape it in or did you paint it in?
I took a scraper thing. I took a one of those things that you get at the paint shops, these level things. And I didn't worry about how much paint was on the brush. I just went across and then did it by, I eyeballed the spaces in between. And I, you know, because I didn't want it to be a solid black.
Yeah, nicely done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's real effective.
So, yeah, I see the perspective even on the buildings that are further to the left. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this one's correct. But it looks, in your photo, it looks like the alley turns a little bit, which makes each building have its own vanishing point.
It does. It does. The buildings are a little different. Yeah. So, but the center one could, I see where that could be adjusted.
Okay, anything else?
No, I had fun doing it. And I just added in the fall colors because to break up the green. Yeah, I was pleased with this one, actually. Sometimes I'm not.
I know sometimes none of us are.
Yeah, really. Thank you very much, Nancy.
Sure. Okay, so this is Anne's.
Yeah, hi Nancy.
Hi Anne.
Hi. So this is small, 8 by 10, and the location is the big open park area across the street from Montrose Harbor.
Okay. So I like the shape of your tree. Are you planning to put any foliage on the tree?
I considered it, but I kind of like all those shapes. I know it maybe has a pasted on feel right now, if you know what I mean. I'm not sure that the tree integrates into the space of the painting, and leaves might help in that regard. So I'm undecided.
Okay. Well, I think this soft edge helps it integrate with, you know, the background. You might soften this edge a little bit too. Because your darkest area would be here. The light kind of wraps around you a little bit, so that might make it look less pasted on.
I toned the panel with a red.
Okay.
That was the panel I had. So there's probably a bit of that undertone coming through.
Yeah, kind of nice with all the green. And did you sponge on some paint? What is was it a textural?
Right. I just kind of slapped my brush against the panel to try and get some texture.
Okay. The dry brush is good for that too.
Mm-hmm. It was late afternoon. And of course the light changed, but there was a lot of light down on the ground, low, in other words. A lot of warm light, even though the sky was cool. There wasn't much blue in the sky at all, but there was a lot of warmth on the ground.
I really loved how you painted these branches.
Oh, good.
You know, they're not solid, and that it's
Mm-hmm.
what light does.
Mm-hmm.
The branches, you know, it just hits it differently, and it's really well done in that section. Anything else, Ian?
Nope, can't think of anything else. Thank you, Nancy.
This is Muriel's photo. That must weigh a lot, Muriel. It has so much paint on it. Great.
I was using palette knife.
Looks like you had fun.
Yes.
With that one. Maybe just a little more value, deeper value back in here, just to pop this all out and push this, you know, road and forest back into space. You're getting it over here. I would just put a little bit more deeper value into there.
I thought to try to make it a little bit grayer so that it will push back. What I was trying to do.
Yeah. And you know, I'm just using the photo as reference because I didn't see the scene. So it could be that it certainly was not that dark when painting from life. So, you know, you may have captured the value just perfectly. And maybe bring a little bit of this edge into the road a bit so that you don't have such a hard line.
Yes, okay.
I think it kind of dips a little bit. It's just a softer line.
Okay.
Nicely done.
Thank you.
Nice eye holes in the trees. Anything else you want to say?
Is that looks like a little bit too blue? Looks like water, maybe?
Maybe. Yeah, it might. You might gray it just a little bit.
Yeah.
Easy fixes, I think. You're just about there.
Thank you, Nancy.
This is Mark's Fort Sheridan. So Mark, this is an exciting piece. I think the sky is beautifully painted.
Thank you.
Action. Will you put more of the, I don't know what these flowers are, but will you put more of that purple in this area, like on the ridge?
Well, you know, it's funny. So what interested me in going there was getting the shoreline and the distance on the shoreline, see if I could catch that, and then trying to catch the lake. But as I got to the foreground, I got exhausted by all the, you know, and I did several of these and tossed a lot of them. I put the blue flowers in, and it just, as a painting, it just didn't look real to me. you know, when you look at the photo, there's so much of it, and that's really what attracted me. But I was having trouble making it look like it wasn't, you know, really chintzy, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
maybe just a combination of some violet and some greens in just a shape, you know, instead of
yeah.
thinking about it being individual stalks of flowers. I think that the purple would be nice with all this yellow that you have in the painting. Would be a really nice complementary touch in there.
Yeah, and that warm hillside's a little out of place too. So that hot yellow or green spot, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just not sure what that is. And what size?
8 by 10.
Okay. CJ.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi. Very nice.
Oh, thank you. I had a lot of fun out there. I was waiting for my daughter to finish her writing lessons. And I had a very cooperative horse who stood still a couple of times. And I actually was going to put him in about 8 or 10 times, but I thought it might be a little overkill.
So it's the same horse, just in different spots?
Yeah, he moved. That's the secret. There weren't 2 horses.
Very nice. Great study and atmospheric perspective.
Oh yeah, it's just one of those typical, you know, kind of misty days, and there's nothing jarring about it. You know, there are no, you know, rich, hard edges and things to grab onto. So you just kind of play around in the gray all day.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
And I like the ruddy road. Just the simple way you handled that. It's great. The fence is so well painted.
Oh, thanks. Looks like someplace I'd like to walk around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With your boots on.
Exactly.
What size is this?
I believe it was 16 by 24.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
I have to admit this was actually 25 years ago.
Oh, really?
It probably doesn't fit the rules of submission, but I didn't have anything that had the autumn colors in it, and this was the first one I came across.
That's probably all been sucked up by suburbia by now.
No, actually, I went there day before yesterday. I'm going to have my my painting class out there, and I wanted to make sure it still looked good, and it looks better than ever.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Clayton, when's your class? And is that something you want to announce?
Well, I was going to have it tomorrow because the weather is 74 degrees, and until this morning, they didn't say anything about rain, heavy rain, and 24-mile-an-hour winds. So I think we'll pass on tomorrow, but I'll probably have it in the next week or two, and you know, because the color will still be there. It's just gorgeous out there. So if anyone's interested, just email me and I'll send you the information. And Palos Hills Riding Stables has a website, and you can see some of the pictures of the structures. There are red barns everywhere, and you know, fence lines. It's beautiful.
That'd be fun.
Yep.
So this Pat, is Pat here tonight?
I'm thinking we must be.
Or is this last week?
Already done that. Yep.
Okay. Okay. I wasn't sure where to start because there were some dates that kind of overlapped. So
yep,
we wound up with CJ.
Yeah, let's. I should check
No,
right now.
nobody knows who CJ is, Nancy. Only people who knew me since I was 18. That's you.
Clayton, sorry.
Thank you.
Did we miss anybody? I don't think so. And anybody else have any other comments or any kind of anything that they want to say.
Wonderful job, Nancy.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Question about gray fall days. What's a good way to like think of colors on the these fall days, you know, because like they seem like really bright colors, but in some ways they aren't really bright colors because you have this gray sky, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah. Well, I like to use violets and warm shadows and just try to push the distant colors back by graying them down. So, and I have to confess, I haven't been out plein air painting much. I've just been in my studio and teaching, and so I feel like a real slacker.
Like think like the violet shadows give the more feeling of like the overcastness of the fall.
I think so, in the distance, yeah. Yeah. But then, you know, use some warmth for the shadows that are closer to you.
Anyone else? And any other announcements or anything?
I have a workshop coming up. It's pastel though. I'm not singing to the choir here because most people are oil or watercolor, but if you're interested in pastel, I have a workshop coming up.
All right, good. And we can find that on your website, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And those are always in our emails. There's a link to Nancy's and Clayton's and Steve's and others to look at their websites on there.
Yeah, we're going to paint Venice. So we're going to pretend we're in Venice.
Oh, nice. All right, anyone else? Okay, well.
Yes, one quick question, Mary. When you started off with what was going to happen in the coming months, your plan, will that be available to look at and to download your
Yes. Yeah, I think it's pretty close. And I actually just sent it out to Nancy and Errol and Steve to just have them look at it, see if there's anything else and that they wanted to add to it or anything. And so as soon as I get those, and then I would imagine that next week we'll go over that, and then I'll send it out after that, or actually Cynthia will send it out after that. But it'll be hopefully more solid at that point.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like a wonderful idea. I love it.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad. Yeah, I didn't want it to end. Yeah. Okay, anything else, anybody? So Lori, what do we know about the website?
Well, people can take a peek at it. It's not done yet. The members portal isn't completed. Probably have it done in about a week or so. But take a look at it, pleinairpainterschicago.com. It's looking good.
It is looking good.
And I'm hoping we can just put this calendar on it as well, so that way you'll be able to see what anytime you can just check it if we've made any changes to it.
Right, there's you know, our old information for paint outs and our past events is up there, but you know,
good.
Still working. It's looking good.
Good. All right, everybody. Well, thank you for this evening. Thank you so much, Nancy. There's all kinds of thank you notes.
Oh,
if you want to take a look at them.
Thank you, Nancy.
Oh, thank you. Very helpful, Nancy.
Thank you, Nancy.
Bye.
Great.
Thank you, Nancy. Say hi to Ron.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
See you next
Bye.
time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.